Hello everyone, welcome to a basic explanation introduction tutorial on how neural networks work. Here we have a very basic neural network layout. So before we do anything else, we're going to look inside of a neuron. Okay, so here we are inside of a neuron. This is where the inputs come in to a neuron and the weights are calculated and everything like that. So we've got some weights, 1, -0.5, and 0.75. These weights basically tell the neuron how much each wire, or the value on that wire, will matter to the neuron. So, let's look at that. Okay, so this is basically what we're doing. We're taking -0.5 times 5, so we're taking the weight of that wire, or the weight of that synapse is the proper word. The weight of that synapse times the value it's carrying, and we're just adding all those up, and that will give us the answer 7. So I'm just going to propagate that. There we go, 7. Then we just send that to the output, which goes out on more synapses, going to other neurons, and those synapses all have different values or different weights. But that doesn't matter, at least. We only care about the inputs right now. So, yeah. Okay, here we have the neural network. So each of those little circles have a neuron inside of it, where we multiply all the weights, or synapses, by the values that the synapse is carrying. So, let's say we give it some inputs. We give it 1, and 0. Okay, let's imagine we're trying to make an XOR gate. So we might give it 1 and 0, and then we can propagate that through the network. I'm using black to indicate a positive, and I'm using white to indicate a negative or a 0. Okay, so that goes through the network. Then we get an output of 0.75. Now, since we're training the network, we have a target. We input 1, 0, and we want to get an output of 1. But in reality, since neural networks aren't perfect, at least unless you've trained them a lot, they're still never going to be perfect. They're just going to be really close to perfect. So, okay, we input this, and we just have some random synapse weight values now, and we get an output of 0.75, and we want a target. The target is 1. So that just means we should be getting 1, but we're getting 0.75. So we can get the absolute value of this, and that will give us the error. That's kind of how much we missed, how much the neural network messed up. Okay, so now let's look at the weights. Here we have some weights, and these are the exact weights. Now, looking at this, obviously it's not perfect. None of the weights are perfect, because the output isn't perfect. But how do we decrease that error? Well, let's try adding 0.25. Okay, there we go. There we go. That's now 0.75. Then we can calculate the new output, and you can see the error decreased. The new error is 0.125, and the old error was 1.25. So, as you can see, the error has decreased. That's great. Now, how do we do this exactly? Well, before I explain how we do the algorithm for doing the weight adjustment, or the synapse adjustment, we need to first look at the kind of a bit of a graph on values. So, let's say the error is 0.75, with a synapse value of 1.75. If we go ahead and we increase the synapse value, then we will get, it'll be 1.875. We increase it to that. The error decreased. As you can see, the old error was 0.75. The new error is 0.5. And if we increase it yet again, then the error will increase again. So this is something that you're going to have to be careful about and make sure that you account for this in your program, that when, or account for it in your neural network. You can increase the synapse value in the right direction, and the error will decrease and keep decreasing, but then at some point, that error will start increasing again, and you want to make sure that you have something in your neural network to stop increasing the error, stop increasing the synapse value then, or increase it in the correct direction by only small amounts, to make sure that you don't, you want to stay at the bottom of this graph, basically. Okay, now how do we do the back propagation? This is a very basic back propagation. There are much more advanced and computationally efficient ways of doing back propagation, but this is a very simple one and very easy to understand. For small neural networks, this works great, but bigger ones, it's a bit harder. Okay, so we take a synapse value. Let's say we start out our neural network. We say we have our synapse value of 0.5. It's just a random value. Then we propagate through the network, get our output, calculate our error. So the first error, error A, is 0.75. Okay, that's a pretty good error. That's like not great error actually. Anyway, we have our error. Then we can increase our synapse value by 0.1. Okay, then our new synapse value is 0.6. We can propagate through the network again, calculate our error again, our new error, will give us 0.85. Then, how do we find out which direction to adjust the weight in? We can just say, if A is greater than B, so if the first error is bigger than the second error, that means that by increasing the synapse value point by 1, then we decrease the error. So if A error is greater than B error, increase the synapse value by the learning rate. So let's say the learning rate is 0.05. We can increase the synapse value, and theoretically our weight should, or our error should decrease, which it will, until you reach the bottom of that valley in the graph I showed you previously. On the other hand, if we increased the synapse value by 0.1, and the old value, the old error is smaller than the new error, so that means if we increase the error by increasing by 1, then we want to decrease the synapse by learning rate. And we can just continue doing so in a loop, and that will, this is a way of finding out which direction you want to adjust your weights in. This works great for small neural networks. Bigger ones, it's a bit harder because there's so much computational stuff to do. You have to obviously go through the network for every single value or every single synapse, which is quite a lot of work for a computer if you have a big network. But if you have small networks, this is no problem, simple to understand. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you think about this explanation. If you have any ideas, comments, just, put them in the comment section, of course. Subscribe to my channel for more. And yeah, I'll see y'all later. Bye!